Good evening. It's your girl, Coach Johnson. And joining me tonight, we have the lovely Coach Mac and Mr. Worldwide, Ron Briscoe. And
What's
welcome
happening?
to Talking Hoops, my good people. Where do we start? First off, let
Ooh,
me say we have missed you all.
Yes.
Welcome
yes.
Kisses,
back.
kisses, kisses, kisses.
Oh my goodness. I'm
you
not throwing
know,
out kisses.
some unfortunate events. Let's say fortunate events. One for our amazing producer behind the glass, Angel Martinez, who had a once in a lifetime, but hopefully for him, it'll be more times to come, opportunity to go to Vegas and cover the Super Bowl. So we want to give a special shout out to Angel as the pictures definitely made me envious and very happy for his opportunity. Looked like nothing shy of a great time. And then last week, as you all know, after the Super Bowl win in Kansas City, Missouri, some unfortunate events that took place after the Super Bowl celebration at the parade. Quite a few people injured, unfortunately. It's just really sad situation that you have such a great moment that has to be tainted by just bad decisions, bad decisions.
Mhm.
So after coming back last night, having some technical difficulties, we are on tonight on a Thursday, our unusual day, but I appreciate you both for making the time and being able to hop on a late night episode. Too many things to cover that we could not skip another week. We couldn't.
Yes.
So, as you all know, I love to start off a good show with a hot topic, something that is just crazy buzz. And what better way to start than with your Milwaukee Bucks? And I want to say, based on the recent interviews and commentary that we've heard, is it some trouble in paradise?
Hmm.
Now, I will start with recently, Doc Rivers came out and did an interview and made some comments that not only ruffled a few feathers, but raised a few red flags for me in particular, with his comment of, it is hard taking over a team in the middle of the season. And he proceeded to say, I don't know why they got rid of Adrian and gave me the job.
So innocently.
So, Coach Mac, Ron, please help me understand what was your takeaway from that interview and Doc Rivers' comments?
Ron, would you like to go first?
I don't have a problem in going first, but I would like to hear you first.
So it's the whole innocent vibe that he tried to portray, as if he didn't know everything that was going on behind closed doors. That was my thing about it. Doc, you knew what was going on. You knew when it was going to happen. That's part of you being a consultant. You know a lot of things that's going on. But the thing is, what did you expect? Is my question for Doc. You're coming this part of the season. They had a really good record, very good chemistry for the most part, they will say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you come in and you try to change things up. So literally, like, what did you expect to happen? On top of, did you really have a plan when you came in? That's my thing. So you coming in knowing you're gonna have to make changes, knowing that there's gonna be, some type of shakeup for the most
Mm-hmm.
part.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're like a deer in the headlights. Like, what's going on? That's what we trying to figure out, Doc. What's going on?
That's a question we're asking.
What is going on?
That's a great point, Ron.
Well, you hit all the points that I was going to talk about. But anyway, let me add this. And I'm not going to get too far down on Doc because Doc and I are really good friends. And I had the honor of, when I worked with Nike, to be the guy that took care of his kid, Austin Rivers. So I was around Austin a lot and around the Rivers family. So I'm not going to hit Doc too hard. But I am going to say this. Doc, come on now. You can't be copping out. You set up there, a contract for 5 years, and you knew what you was getting into. You've
Mhm.
been down this road before. So don't go talking about why did they, fire Adrian and it's hard for you to be in this situation in the middle of the season and things like that. You've been a head coach in the NBA too many years and have known these players for too many years to be talking like that. Just go ahead and just lace those shoes up, tighten up that belt, and get in there and see if you can make something happen with Giannis and Dame and the rest of the guys on the team, and just put a winning team on the floor that's going to be able to get into the playoffs and hopefully may win another championship. So let's just get it going, Doc.
Absolutely. And, just to further add to that, one thing that I was going to mention a couple weeks ago when we didn't get to get a show is comments made by Damian Lillard, who made a comment saying that he wanted to eventually go back to Portland and win the championship in Portland. And I found that to be rather strange because if you wanted to win a championship in Portland, why did you leave to go to the Bucks to not only go from being franchise player in Portland, but to being option number 2 with the Bucks? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Okay, I'll take this one first. you know, I said the same thing about Dame when he said that. He wants to go back to Portland and try to win a championship. Of course, they came close, but when you look at it, look at Portland's record today.
Mhm.
And Dame probably would have said, if he was still on the team today, he would say, like, I need to get traded because Portland is not ready. They don't
No.
have the personnel to be a top contender right now. And that's why they are at the bottom cellar of the NBA in their division today. So, Dame, we understand it's a lot of pressure. You're under a lot of stress, but hang in there. Giannis and the guys are going to take you there. They won an NBA championship. All they did was replace Drew Holiday, and he was there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Robin Lopez may be gone from the Bucks now, doing that little stretch where they had
Mhm.
the All Star game going on. So
Mhm.
they're gonna add a piece and get somebody to take Robin's place. But anyway, I think that y'all can do it if y'all work together. And I don't know if you want to be the leading guy, but you not. I think it's too late because Giannis got that road all sold up.
Now, Coach Mack, I did want to ask you your thoughts about Giannis, and are we getting a bit of common denominator here? Because there a few some games ago before the All-Star break, we came across a clip where Giannis ignored the substitution that was being made, and before the game was over, went back to the locker room without the sub coming on the court, and just really, in my opinion, a poor display of sportsmanship. And also, just kind of what message are you sending your coach when you do this, as well as your teammates? What are your thoughts on that whole situation? Or, do you feel like Giannis is maybe just experiencing some frustration? I feel like when you're guy number one, you don't get to do those things. But that's just my take. What are your thoughts on that?
The unspoken word or phrase, that's Giannis' team. So thing is, I don't know how long Doc is going to be there simply because of that. Now,
Mm,
like you stated, that is poor sportsmanship. But again, this is his team. Who are they going to get rid of first, Giannis or Doc?
mm,
So, with that being said, I don't know. I think Giannis. I'm pretty sure he's frustrated, just like
mhm.
Dame is. And so now they're both kind of like, what is this? What is this going on? How are we going to make this work? Can it work? And I don't know if they have the time that they need to make it work. That's the biggest issue. And so I don't know. It's just it's too many questions and not enough answers, and it's not that many solutions that they're bringing to the table for this team to be successful at this point. Because we only have what is this, February, almost March.
Mhm.
So yeah, we
Mhm.
don't have they don't have that much time before the regular season is over and before we even get into playoffs. So I mean, is I don't know. It's too much to say, too many questions, but again, not enough answers.
Not enough answers. And it looks like Ron might be experiencing some technical difficulties on his end. So, hoping that we'll get Ron back on the platform soon, as I'm sure our great producer behind the scenes is helping get him back on. So, just move. And hopefully that gets him back going. But I did want to speak about, still just continuing on the Bucks. Them being a championship contending team is almost a little difficult to say. Is it too early to say, given the difficulty they had in their loss against Memphis with with all G League vets, and no knock to the G League vets that beat them. They played hard. Okay. They fought for that game. They showed up ready to play. And that's one of the good things about basketball, is that it doesn't matter your record. It doesn't matter who you have on your team. It's all about who shows up and is ready to get after it. And
Yes.
those guys came prepared and ready to get after it. And you'd have to imagine, you're a recent championship team, it's a target on your back. And those guys came and they brought it and they took it to them.
Mhm.
And
But
it's
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. But the
no, you're
thing
good.
that really got me the most is that I compare it to almost an AAU team playing against a 4-year high school team.
Mm,
Okay, AAU, you just getting players together that's only been together for a short period of time versus your high school team, y'all been together for years. AAU came in and hustled. I'm talking about from the
mm,
beginning to the very end. It did not quit and won the game. That is no excuse for the Bucks. You got guys that are on a 10-day contract, two-way contract. They came in and got the job done. So my thing is, first off, I hate the fact that a lot of people treat G League like they're just second class citizens. Like these
mm-hmm,
players, when I tell you, really work hard. I mean, really, really work hard. The grind is there. They're hungry. And in my opinion, I feel like they wanted more than a lot of veteran players. As I
mm,
see them starting to, get called up, it seems like by the day, I think now G League may be on their 43rd call up coming into the NBA. So
mm-hmm.
I'm feeling like the NBA is starting to, hey, we might need to take a look at this whole G League situation and restructure some things. But we shall
Ab-
see.
Absolutely. I think you bring a great point about the perspective on G League. And see, people on the outside who are just fans of the game, but maybe don't understand the intricate business side of the game, don't understand sometimes that there are a lot of politics involved in
Hmm.
basketball, especially when we get to rankings and going to big name schools, and certain people getting opportunities and looks and getting a chance that others aren't getting because, hey, you went to this big name school, you played for this big time coach, and Joe Blow from down the street, who's got major game, didn't
Hmm.
have those same opportunities available to him. So his outcome was a little bit different. And I'm with you, Coach Mack. I think, hey, it's time to look at how can they utilize their G League players and teams more, and really kind of put the pressure back on players like, hey, don't get too comfy. Don't get too comfy, because it's people out there. These guys are they're ready for an opportunity. You have to imagine, some of these guys have been playing in G League for a few years now, waiting for an opportunity.
Hmm.
So when they finally get that opportunity, they got to make the most of it. A first
Hmm.
impression is everything. And a lot of the guys that have been called up, we've been seeing they've been having a lot of success in the league.
Yes, definitely
It's
have. And that showed in the All-Star game for the Rising Stars when Team PAL, which was the G League team, beat beat Wimiyama sing. Like, how do you
Mhm.
explain that?
How, it's really effort is a thing though. And a quote that a coach used to say to me all the time when I was a kid is that hard work beats talent when talent
Yep.
won't work hard. Welcome back, Ron.
Hey, I don't know what happened, but I'm back.
That's all right. Welcome back. We were just talking about Coach Mac's G League babies and the success that they've been having in the league, and how we're on Coach Mac. You said our 43rd call up, possibly.
Yes. Yes. The 43rd call, 43rd or 49th. It's in the 40s, somewhere in the 40s. But either way, they're steady and getting called up. It seemed like by the day, more and more G players are getting called up, and I'm so
and
proud of it.
and
Yeah,
rightfully so.
you're doing a great job of keeping us updated on the call ups. I really appreciate that. And I tell you what, several of those G League players have really been doing well playing in the league. Of course, tonight is the first night that the NBA starts back up after the All Star game. But several of them have really been playing well, especially the guys that have been on the Memphis Grizzlies team. They have
Hmm.
done a great job. And hopefully, more of them play well, and we can hear about them as the season unwinds.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And Coach Mac, you mentioned the All Star guys, and I definitely want to get into the All Star guys.
Is it
First off,
All Star guys or the All Star game?
all love it, Ron. All love it. Okay.
Or
All
the
love it.
lack
I just,
of game.
or lack of all star that we guys that we seen. First, just want to say I did see my dad's message. Shout out to my dad for coming to join us. Faithful supporter, we appreciate you. But the All Star game, I'm ready for them to take a box, throw it all in there, and put it in the basement because it's time to wrap it up. It's no, what is the by far the, and I hate to say it, but the worst
It
I
was.
think that I seen. If I would have paid my money to go see that, I probably would have hit fraud on my bank account.
I know you would have.
I would have said, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. This is not what I paid for. I didn't receive the
The service.
entertainment, the services that I paid good money for, which
That's right.
I took a look at the tickets because we were contemplating going, Indiana being just a next door neighbor to Missouri. And thank gosh I did not pay that money for that. What a bust.
That was
What
awful.
was it? Sure was. I tell you what, that NBA All Star game needs to be fixed. There were so many vets that were talking about how those players really embarrassed the legacy
Mm,
of the NBA All Star game.
mm,
Um, I read so many comments about, of course, the guys were out there just having a 3-point contest and a slam dunk contest. And we already had that the night before, but they continued it in the All Star game, in my opinion. They shot 168 threes that night.
mm.
Goodness.
And that's lets you know that if you're shooting 168 threes, there was definitely no defense. So I was really upset, like you guys are. I was like, man, they taking the tradition of the NBA All Star game and, like you said, putting it in the box, like they don't care. People keep saying, like, why don't you offer them some money? Offer them some money. These guys are getting paid 10, 12, 15, $30 million a year. They are supposed to be out there showing not only us, but the fans that they are the best at their position. That's why they were selected to play in the NBA All Star game. They were
Mm-hmm.
not competitive. And I understand they may get hurt or something like that, but Kobe Bryant was the last guy that
Hmm.
Mm,
I saw in an NBA All Star game that played from end to end, gave it his all, and got on his teammates when they didn't play.
mm,
Because he told them, this is not for us. This is for the fans, man. Come on. They pay their hard earned money. like Coach Johnson was almost ready to do, and you didn't give them what you're worth. So
No.
yes, they need to do something about that.
Ron, I would have disputed the payment while I was still sitting in the stands.
I would have done the same thing, girl. We're on the same page. I was like, man, I didn't come up here to see this. I came to see some people play
Yeah,
basketball.
thank you. And really I agree with you, Ron. When did it stop being competitive? I understand, the concern for injuries. And I know that in the past they have kind of played, in the first two quarters, the first three quarters, they kind of put on a bit of a show. They're not playing maybe 100%. They're playing about 75, 80. They're still making it competitive. But that fourth quarter, I remember that's when it was game time in the All-Star game.
That's
You
right.
know, Kobe picked LeBron up from the baseline.
That's right.
From the
That's right.
baseline. Oh, I was loving it. I was loving it. I was so happy to see that when it happened. I'm glad that I had the chance to watch that live when it happened because imagine, Coach Mack, imagine sitting there after you've paid $500 for a ticket and you watch them score 200 plus points.
I would have walked out. Like, just let me just go because this ain't it. This I'm in the wrong gym because this
That's
could
right. You
not
are.
be the All Star game that I thought I was coming to watch.
I
What you say, Coach Mac? Let me look at them tickets. Does that say All
Yeah,
Star on
yeah,
it?
right, Jim. Am I in the?
Am I in the
and
right place?
and I really think that next year might look a little different. Here we are doing an in-game tournament. Like nobody asked for that. First of all, let me just say that you guys are doing the in-game tournament because you want it to be competitive. Here you go, and you have something that's already been a part of the league for years and years and years. You have the All-Star game, East versus West, where fans now get the opportunity to vote, and you want fans to be included. You want to help viewership, and that is what happens. What do you guys think about just your opinion on the potential future of viewership for NBA basketball right now?
Well, Coach Johnson, it's been going on like that for the last several years. Let's just look
Mhm.
at it. Let's look at the league today before the All Star game. How many guys have you seen like just cop out, just don't want to play, don't feel like playing? We talked about Zion. He shows up every once in a while. AD, saying I'm gonna play today. LeBron, I'm gonna play today. It's just going like that. It's that type of league now where back in the day when you had guys that if they were hurt, they were showing up to play all the time. I
Sick.
remember just hearing a video about Michael Jordan saying, like, man, we won 72 games and he played in probably 100 of those games.
Hmm.
So it's just the way the league is going. It's the way the mentality of the guys are playing today. They're not out there to give it their all, but they're out there to fill their pockets up with a lot of money.
Mm.
And I think
Mhm.
that's what the problem may be. One of the problems is that, hey, if I play or not, I'm still gonna get paid.
Mm. Mhm.
So
Mm.
we understand that the fans come to watch us at the NBA All Star game. But if I play or not, if I give it or not, I'm still going to, get paid, and I'm still going to do what I got to do on the court. But I'm not going to give them their money's worth and be competitive enough. Let's look at this. After the NBA All Star game was played Sunday, I didn't hear anybody talking about it except for, did you know they scored 200 points? And that was it. That was the main headline. That
And
was
they
it.
actually gave a trophy. That was my thing. I'm like, y'all actually giving a trophy for
Yeah,
this?
y'all giving an
Like,
MVP trophy
Really?
away?
this is trash. And speaking of MVP, did you guys agree with Dame getting MVP instead of Halliburton?
I didn't agree that Dame should have got it. I think Halliburton should have got it. You're right. I really do.
He started out on fire. Halliburton did. And I think he kept that consistency throughout the game. But
Well,
hey, Indy fans definitely didn't seem to like it. Unfortunately,
n-
they booed Dame when
They
he
booed
received
him.
the
Yeah, they
trophy.
did boo him.
Well, the intense rivalry between Indiana and Milwaukee had a few, I heard some scuttlebutt that I heard a little scuttlebutt that, the Dame Halliburton, Indiana, Milwaukee kind of rivalry, little beef that they have was
Hmm.
maybe a potential factor why Halliburton stopped getting the ball. And
Oh.
if anybody
Oh,
noticed that,
I didn't
he
notice
w-
that.
he was what, 5 for 5 to start off with,
Mm-hmm.
and then the touches started getting a little scarce. They started getting a little scarce, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't see the trophy. I didn't even make it that far in the game.
I
Okay,
didn't even. I didn't
I
make it
didn't
to
even
the
make.
end.
I didn't make it that far, Coach Mack. When you sent to the group that they gave a trophy and he got booed, oh, I laughed. I really laughed because I'm like, a trophy for what? A participation trophy?
That's pretty much what it was.
Because it couldn't have been an MVP trophy. I wouldn't, like I said, I would have hit dispute on the way to the car. So what an absolute waste. But speaking of trophies and accomplishments, jumping over to Miss Caitlin Clark
Oh yes.
on breaking Kelsey Plum's record, Kelsey Plum. And I did find out some interesting information. And Ron, Coach Mac, you guys may have already known about this, but about Woodard, Lynette
Hmm.
Woodard.
Mm-hmm.
Lynette.
Lynette Woodard was, she went to Kansas. She was an 4-time All American. She averaged 26.3 points per game and scored a total of 3,649 points, the most in women's basketball history. But they weren't officially considered the NCAA yet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you say that Caitlin has broken the record officially, or
Hayden.
is Woodard's record still kind of the ultimate end goal?
The
I
last
would
time I
say.
checked,
Go ahead.
the last time I checked, the ball only goes in the hoop one way. So regardless of what level, what conference you're on, that's points. Get that lady her flowers and
Yeah,
stop hating on my girl because she deserves to be honored for what she did and not erased simply because of the conference or the level that they were on. It doesn't matter. The ball only goes in a hoop one way.
I
agreed.
agree. I definitely agree. Give her flowers. Make sure they're roses
Hmm.
because she did it. She put in the work. She put in the points. And just because the NCAA doesn't want to recognize all of her points is ridiculous. They should have grandfathered it in.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely. That's a great point, Ron. I
yeah, they
absolutely.
they could do it still do it today if they
To this
want to.
day,
Right.
yes,
And just say,
absolutely.
hey, this is what's going on. This is how it is. But the thing about Caitlin Clark, I was watching that game. That girl came down 3 times and she shot it from the logo and she made it 3 times in a row.
Mm,
And I was like, you are ridiculous.
hmm.
And this is this is one reason why I really am getting to the point where I've got to the point of watching women's basketball more than men's basketball because the girls or the ladies go out there and play hard. They're very competitive. They play defense. They work hard. I just like it. I like the way they play. They're not like, I don't feel like playing today. How many girls in the WNBA did you see this past season that took a day off
Mm,
if they wasn't injured?
hmm.
I sat down and thought about that. Not many. You had to be really injured not to play a game in the WNBA. And that's the thing I'm seeing. That's the trend I'm seeing. I'm seeing that the ladies are stepping up and giving all they have, and the guys are taking the back seat, relaxing, crossing their feet, saying, "Well, look, I make 10 million. I'm gonna make about 250,000 this game. So look, let me sit down." Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Be responsible. Step up. Have more character than that. Uh oh.
Uh-oh.
You know what that means.
Yes, and as our producer behind the glass has given someone that I'm too familiar with, aka my mom, an entire intro. Welcome to the show. I'm late, but the whole weekend was trash. And I am assuming she is referencing the All Star weekend. Just to jump back, it was terrible. We just finished talking about how that ticket would have been disputed before we made it back to the car. Okay. Chase would have had to send me my money back for that. And they would have had to taken that up with the NBA All Star. Because I'm not paying for that. So uh terrible weekend, and hopefully next season they maybe restructure it, right? Like, let's get some guys who actually want to play. Let's get some
Hmm.
guys who actually want to show off their growth and development over the season and actually want to be competitive. And so hopefully going forward we get something better from that. But jumping back to college basketball, Ron, I know your area of expertise and really wanted to highlight a major upset that occurred the other day with Coach Mack's team UConn and Creighton.
Y'all, so oh my God. So listen.
Let her go, man, because see, we
Okay.
both know a guy who's assistant coach on the
Yes.
Creighton team really
There
well.
you
So
go. That's what I was about to say. I'm a Creighton fan too. Ron and I both have a mutual friend who's the assistant coach at Creighton. Jalen, that's my guy. But Creighton, man, they have a really good team. Like a really good
mhm.
team. Early on, they were doing pretty well. Then it kind of lost to some unranked teams, and I was like, oh my God, y'all are killing me. UConn was still was still doing well, up on the rise. But now that the two have met and Creighton knocked them out,
Oh
Mm.
yeah.
I don't know if I should be happy, if I should be sad, if I should give a hug, if I should cry. I don't know. So many mixed emotions there because those are my two top teams. But
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
yeah.
But I tell you what, it was a knockout punch by Creighton. Uh, Jalen Courtney is a guy that I've been knowing ever since he was in ninth grade out of Jackson, Mississippi, Coach Mack's stomping ground.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, he went to LSU.
Hmm.
So he's a guy that is really very close and very, I know well. And I was happy for him because he worked his way up from being a graduate assistant at LSU. Then he went to a couple of more
Right.
schools in Louisiana. He went to McNeese, and then he left McNeese and he went to Creighton. So I have to tip my hat to him for the job that they did. And I did not think that UConn was going to lose that bad. I thought it was going to be a battle,
Mm.
Yeah.
but I didn't think that Creighton was going to go in and do the rope a dope on them.
They did. They did an excellent job scouting UConn. I can say that. Like Ron said, I was not expecting for the score to be that way. Maybe 1 or 2 points, but goodness, Creighton came. They showed up. They showed up and they showed out.
For
They ended
sure.
up beating them by 15, right?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was
I think so.
15.
I think so.
I mean,
Mhm.
that's if I round up, that's dub.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
That
lick. That's a good
yeah,
lick.
yeah, that's a good lick. That's not by a few free throws.
No,
No.
no,
That's
no, that's a punch in the nose lick right there.
yeah. And see, UConn was the number one team. You always have
That's
to
right.
expect you're going to get everybody's best game,
Hmm.
and you
Right,
have to be prepared.
right. And Coach Johnson, I thought you was gonna lead in with LSU beating Kentucky last night. That's where I thought you was going.
Another one.
Well,
Another upset.
yeah. Give us the breakdown. Give us the breakdown.
Well, the Kentucky LSU rivalry is something that's a heated rivalry,
Mm,
uh, either in Lexington or in Baton Rouge.
mm,
And the fans packed the stadium. no matter what. I mean, they had people hanging out of the rafters last night in Baton Rouge at the PMAC. And Kentucky comes in with a really good team, and they have just won 4 games in a row, but they have been a suspect team all year long, up and
Hmm.
down, with all the quality players that they have. Of course, they do have some young players on the team, especially at the guard positions. But most of them are McDonald All Americans. Uh, you got Dillingham, you got Reeves, who's playing there. You got DJ Wagner, who's a grandson, who's playing there. So you got some people with some major names, and Reed Shepard, whose daddy played at Kentucky.
Hmm.
So they come in there and they got these 7 foot guys, and they got all of this. And LSU's been struggling all year long,
Mm.
but as of late, they've been on a run. They beat
Hmm.
South Carolina, which was ranked 17th in the nation. Then they beat Kentucky. So another ranked team in the top 25. And LSU's not even ranked. But the way the game ended was
Woo.
another one of Coach Mack's
Woo.
homeboys from
Yes.
Jackson messing around
Victory.
down there, catching the ball and throwing it up. And it just happened to hit the right hands and go in.
Man, that ending was
Buzzer beater.
mouth dropping. I mean, you talking about a heartbreaker?
Mhm.
Yeah, I know
Mm.
Kentucky was definitely heartbroken at the end of the game. How they, first off, I thought he was going to fall out of bounds, but he ended up actually well, I guess you could say lobbing the ball and he tipped it
Right.
in. That was the game.
Now,
And what
Coach Matt, sorry, Ron, real quick, can you give the fans that didn't get a chance to see just a visual of that last play of what took place? It sounds like the game was tied. How many seconds was left on the clock?
So it had to have been what, maybe points? It was definitely less than point
it
0.5
was
seconds left on the clock.
it was 13 seconds left on the clock when LSU
Overall,
got the
yeah.
ball. Because Kentucky had just went down and hit a 3 point shot and they were up by one.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So when you come back, LSU takes the ball out, 13 seconds, they come down. And as a matter of fact, Ward, who shot the ball, got his shot blocked.
Hmm.
And the ball was on the floor. Well, it was going out of bounds on the floor. He
Yeah.
just flipped it up in the air. And the guy just came out of nowhere and he
Tipped it
tipped it
in.
in with the
Wow.
with like seconds to go. But what I was
Yes.
going to say before that was that Kentucky had a 15-point lead
Mm. Okay.
with 9 minutes to go in the game, and LSU walked them down and wound up winning it in a buzzer beater in the end.
Yeah. It was
And
about 9 minutes when LSU started to turn everything around.
Yeah.
So,
see, when you trick the game off like that, it's hard to say heartbreak. LSU sound like they fought for that win.
Oh,
they
they really
did,
expressed. They clawed. They cried.
but
They
still.
played defense. They rebound. They stole the ball. They did everything they needed to do to come back and win that game. And that's why the crowd stormed the floor after the game.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Oh,
And
did you guys see that they had to pay $100,000 fine because
No.
LSU stormed the floor? Yes, yes,
No.
yes. A
and
hundred
guess who else stormed the floor with them?
Angel
Angel
Reese
Reese. Angel Reese and the
on the
whole
chest,
the
like
whole
she
ladies
just.
LSU ladies basketball team stormed the court with them. So
Yep.
it was a show of appreciation for the men's team and a big win that they've been talking about all day down here.
Oh yeah, listen, $100,000 is pocket change over there on the LSU women's basketball team. They got it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it sounds like it was worth the celebration. But speaking of high level basketball players in college, I want to bring up a comment that was made by Adam Silver recently. And for
Mm.
those that don't know, Adam Silver, that is the NBA commissioner, he recently made a comment stating, and we have spoken about this on the show before, but definitely worth highlighting when it's coming now from the top, is that the difference between NBA players that are American that are coming from college doing 1 year, or maybe they're going the alternate route of doing G League and then coming to the league, and these alternate paths that guys have been taking, compared to overseas players, primarily in the European countries, is that we're seeing that our local American guys are coming into the league and not being prepared to be on a NBA team and be a team player in regards of playing and performance, where because whereas you are seeing this with the European guys, because in Europe, there's more emphasis on practice and preparation and training than there is on gameplay. Whereas we have moved over to a culture of focusing only on gameplay and less emphasis on practice and training.
But
Interesting.
all I want to say is the word what Allen Iverson said: practice.
Yeah.
You're talking about practice?
He said it then.
He said it then, but to
That's all I
actually
wanted to
hear
say.
it coming from the NBA commissioner, what do you guys think about that? I mean, if you look at some of the top guys in the league right now, where are they from?
Hmm. Yep, overseas.
And when we talk
Overseas.
about skill and subtracting Giannis, I don't put Giannis in terms of the skill that these guys are having, because Giannis worked for
Oh, he
his
worked hard.
development. Giannis is extremely athletic when he came into the league, but if you look at pictures and videos of Giannis when he first came into the league to where he's
Ooh.
at now, he has really taken the time to put the work in to be the player that he is. So, hats off to Giannis for taking advantage of the opportunity to get better, right? And appreciating and loving the work part of getting better, because he is being rewarded, and he has been rewarded, and he was rewarded with the championship. But if you look at some of these skilled guys, look at the difference in skill, fundamentally sound.
Hmm.
It's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. What do you guys think about Adam Silver's comments and kind of the validity of them?
I mean, I think it's the full truth. There was one of the player, I can't remember if it was Wimby or the Joker, that talked about how coming into, I think it was Wimby, but how coming into the league was an adjustment because they were so used to team basketball versus individual play. And that was like a transition that they had to learn when they got here. And so that speaks volumes as far as what the commissioner is saying. Overseas players do play more of a team basketball. It's more of
Mhm.
a structured environment when it comes to on the floor versus what USA basketball is like. But it's interesting that even though, overseas may be more of a team environment, but whenever USA tends to play against other countries, it's like we're more dominant. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to really just say USA is better than overseas and
Mm-hmm.
overseas is better than USA. It would be great if they both collided so we can see, some
Mm-hmm.
team basketball when we get here. 'Cause, I mean, like at one point, let's say, I think Golden State was probably one of the ideal teams that exemplified that, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But obviously some things is going downhill with Golden State. And speaking of
Mhm.
that, I want to talk about how Klay Thompson is taking on the mindset of being okay with coming off the bench. And G
Mm-hmm.
League Brandon, my favorite G League former G League player, is
That's your
now
guy, huh?
starting. That's my guy,
Mm-hmm.
Brandon. But he's starting now. So anyway, transitioning back to what we were talking about, I just want to throw that out there.
Ooh, ooh. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting to see if there's going to be any kind of adjustments as far
Mm-hmm.
as what the NBA is looking for us to do. I feel like for Adam to come out and say that he's displeased with the way he's seen the players perform. So I'm wondering if he's going to try to make some type of adjustment within the NBA for it to be more of a team sport than individual play.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right, Coach Mike. He sees something, and he knows he needs to do something to
Hmm.
fix the problem. Uh, and you're right about the European guys. They all kind of like shocked when they come over here and style of play of the individual ball, because they're so used to passing the ball and cutting, passing the ball and
Hmm.
cutting, and getting down there. And then once they get close to the basket, they'll make their move. drop step, spin step, up and under, and get it done. And if not, they'll be able to pass it back out and hit a guy at the 3 point line, and the
Mhm.
guy will shoot it. It's not like they have to dribble the ball a whole lot to get things done. They come in and make a couple of dribbles and pass the ball, then cut and try to get it back. And they really try to get to the basket
Mhm.
as close as they can to score. And another thing that the European guys do really well that American guys need to learn how to do is they know how to get fouled and get to the free throw line.
Mm.
Yes.
That's one thing that they do very, very well. And
Contact.
right, and they shoot free throws extremely well. That's another thing they do. So the defensive end for the European guys, it's a little bit suspect, but they give their best. They're a little bit slow footed. Not all of them, but some of them.
Yes,
But
agreed.
they do their best. But what I like about the inside players is that when you come in there, you better be ready. You better have your armor on because they're gonna beat you up, push you, bite you, scratch you to get that ball. That's one thing I like about the big guys that play European ball. They really, really go in there and defend and protect their goal. Plus, their footwork is very, very good on the offensive end.
Yes, I will say from my experience, I found one thing that I found to be really interesting when I went and played in Australia is that they would have imports that would come over, and you would watch their film, you see them as a player, and over here, killing it. Okay, putting up numbers, star of their university, and we're talking about some D1 players that were over there.
Mhm. Mhm.
But what I did see and experience with other teams is that the locals there would feel like certain players are like, oh, they're terrible. They're a terrible import. They're trash. Like they're not good. I don't know how they play. And I'm like, okay, well, they have to be decent. They made it over here. I go watch the film, and really when I actually got to watch one girl in particular who they ended up sending home after a few games, is that she couldn't adjust to playing half court organized team basketball.
Mhm.
And that was why, and that from their perspective, they felt like she was not a good player. And when I watch, I'm watching her game film on, from the state side in college, and I'm like, she was a good point guard. I'm like, this is a good point guard in
Yeah.
this system, but not being able to adjust and having that basketball IQ to
Mhm.
adjust and having the skill set to change your game, and not change your game, but make the adjustments in your game to still be effective, was a big problem. But speaking of overseas, I did want to bring up really quickly Ron's good old boy Draymond Green.
Oh, what did Draymond
Ab-
do this year? I told
I want
Draymond to be
we
good. I
didn't
told him to be good. He ain't listening to me. Maybe he may listen to one of you guys, but he's not listening to me.
we didn't get a chance to talk about it a couple weeks ago, but when the matchup happened again between Draymond Green and Nurkic, and Nurkic made some comments about Draymond that I felt he could have and should have kept to himself, because when I went back and watched the film, as I say, film doesn't lie. And, Nurkic was taunting Draymond a little bit,
Mhm.
and being quite disrespectful defensively, acting like he didn't need to get his hands up, like he didn't even really need to guard him. And he made a basket over Draymond, and he slapped the floor, extra hard, and did the too small sign. And then
What?
and
Mhm.
then got upset. And then, mind you, that was his fifth point. He didn't score another basket after that. Okay, let me throw that out there. Is that Nurkic didn't score another basket after that, and not only that, but Draymond ended with like 15 and 9, and at the end, Draymond made a basket. Draymond did the same thing that Nurkic did back to him, And all of a sudden, Nurkic is like, he hasn't changed. Draymond, he didn't deserve a second chance. I take my words back. He doesn't deserve a second chance. And at first, I seen the comments before I watched the film, and when I seen the film, I said, "Oh, Nurkic, oh, embarrassing! I can't believe you went and said that because you attempted to taunt him and
Right.
also pretend like you didn't need to play real defense against him, and now you feel embarrassed. And so, because you're embarrassed, and he matched your energy with the disrespect, he now it's Draymond. And I trust me, I'm not defending Draymond here. Let's be clear, but from a
Let's be clear.
let's be clear, but from a perspective of competition and being a competitor, Nurkic, how dare you do that? How dare you go in the media and say that after you wanted to lead with that energy?
Well, if I was around Draymond, I would say, Draymond, just go ahead and punch him and get him out of here, okay? Because if he's going to go out there and taunt you like that and make, come at you like that and try to intimidate you and try to get to edge you on to, do what you have to do. Because Draymond knows that he only has one strike left. And if you're going to strike, you better strike a good one.
He
Get on
can't do
out
that,
of there.
Ron. He can't do that,
Huh?
Ron. He might end up in the back of them boys' car for real this time. He might get booked for real this time.
You're right. But anyway, yeah, that was he was edging him on. He was just trying to, you know, get up on his skin and get him to do
Mhm.
something. And it's good to see Draymond held his ground and did the right thing. Because, like I said, he has one more strike against him before the commission is going to show him the door.
He pushing that limit though. I will say that. We all, we all know Draymond is just one little stick shot away from crazy, but he definitely pushing that limit. He gonna try it. That's just Draymond. We already know he's gonna try it. So
Yeah, we
I don't know what Nurkic was thinking in the first place when he even tried to just even think about being just. This is Draymond we talking about. So
Right.
you're right. And Draymond was saying, "Well, what's wrong with him? Like, you know who I am? I mean, what are you trying to do? You know,
Draymond
I,
come with it.
I go off up in this place.
He come with
Right.
it.
I punch
Like,
people.
did Nurkic not feel that punch the first time?
I know.
He come ready. Just for no reason. He come ready.
Let me tell you, Draymond is a special character, but as we are approaching 5 minutes left remaining in the show, I did have a fun question that I wanted to ask you guys and get your takeaway. So the question is, which NBA player from Europe will be remembered as the greatest? And this is your
Ooh.
lineup. We got Dirty Dirk, we got Giannis, we got Luca, and we got Jokic.
That's a
So
great one, man. Ooh.
out of that lineup, who do you all think will be the most remembered from Europe as an NBA player? And if so, why? Why are you choosing that person and why do you think?
I would probably
Wow.
say Luca.
Mm.
Mainly because of the records that he's setting and the
Mhm.
like the points and stuff like that. And again, he's so young. There's so much more to him that we will see. Dirk, he had his run, but Luca has exceeded that already.
Mhm.
Giannis, he's sometimes he can be a bit emotional, and
Hmm.
he allows his emotion to dictate some things. So I
Mm.
think that's probably kind of what may wash him out. Joker, I love Joker because he don't even care. He just I'm here.
I'm here. He doesn't even want to be remembered. Let's say that. He said, "Remember me as a dad. Don't even
That's
remember
it.
me."
I'm here. Like I don't even care about all this. Just let me go and get my horses and with my family.
That's true. That's
That's
what he
all I
says all
need.
the time.
He don't even care. So
Yeah.
we left with Luca. I think it's gonna be Luca.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, those are four hard guys to pick from because they are four really good pro basketball players. Uh, it's hard for me to turn away from Dirk Nowitzki
Hmm.
because of the trail he has already blazed,
Hmm.
the numbers he has already put up, and just his legacy. Uh, so during his era, let me put it that way. Now, during these guys' era, I do like Giannis a lot, and it's hard. It's hard to pick the Joker and not pick both Giannis and the Joker together because it's really a toss up to tell you the truth. Both of them are really good. It's you make it really Coach Johnson trying to pick these guys, but
I know. I know.
I,
We like
I'm a,
hard decisions.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put Giannis in second and the Joker in third, and I just like both of them's games. I think they both get it done. They both play hard. They both are hard to contain. Giannis is just what I call a long drink of water. He's a stretch
Hmm.
man, and he gets it done. He's NBA championships mean a lot. So it's like I say, it's hard. It's hard. So
So who was
we'll
your number
see.
one, Ron?
My number
Dirk.
one right now is going to be Dirk.
Okay. Okay. Now I got a question for you, Coach Matt. Now, is Luca still remain that person if by the end of his run he never wins a championship?
I think he eventually will.
You
Now,
think so? With the
yeah,
Mavs.
I don't know about with the Mavs,
Mm.
but because I don't know how long he will tend to stay with the Mavs, especially if they don't win. You see how long it took Dirk to win one. He was there all his life.
Yeah.
You
So
said all his life.
all his life,
All
and
his life he had to fight for that.
all
Hmm.
his life he had to fight for that one. I don't think Luca gonna have the patience for that. And honestly, I don't think I blame him for that. The thing that just really concerns me about the Mavs is just the pieces that they bring in. They're not really championship pieces for the most part. I mean, you have some really, really good players, but they're not championship type players.
Hmm. Hmm.
And like I stated on the episode before, that when Dirk actually won that championship, look at the players that they brought in to
Right.
surround him.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that was like the only way that he got it, which was terrible, but that was the move that he had to make. And it's like we're struggling doing the same thing with Luca. Like, can we get championship players surrounding Luca, because that's basically what he's going to need. Now we got Kyrie, we got a piece to the puzzle,
A
Yeah.
piece,
but we
yes.
still need some more pieces.
Yeah.
Yes.
You need that.
And
You need that Jason Kidd and Jason
Yes,
Terry
yes,
guy.
yes.
we need some more pieces. And I don't
Mm,
understand for the life of me why Mark keeps making these types of moves. And every year we get to the playoffs, maybe what, second round, and then we're out after that. Can we please get some more pieces to the puzzle to win a championship?
you're gonna
Now,
you're gonna have to you're gonna have to talk to Nico Harrison, who's the general manager over there.
oh, and it looks like we have a call made by my grandfather that he cut his golf game short to watch that garbage on Sunday.
Oh no.
Listen, Grandpa, like I said on the show,
Yeah.
I would have disputed that charge before I made it back to the car. Okay, it would we payment would have been denied and it would have never went through because I would have definitely needed a refund for that. But just speaking real quick, last thing on the Mavs, as we just brought them up, one thing that I found to be interesting is that I don't know if what's going on with the Mavs or what has occurred with the Mavs, but some interesting facts came up yesterday that I read about. And did you all know, and you probably did, but when Steve Nash left the Mavs, the very next season he was MVP, and Jalen Brunson, who was waived by the Mavs, 2
Okay.
years later,
multiple
he is
times.
now an MVP candidate. So I wonder, in theory, if Luca leaves, could he possibly be a champion? And is it something with the Mavs, or is that just by coincidence? So it'll be interesting to keep up with, interesting to see. But as we are nearing the end of our show at 9:30 Central Time, 7:30 Pacific, and 10:30 Eastern. We want to take the time to thank you all for joining us on the show tonight and on our unusual Thursday, but we appreciate everybody who tuned in and called in and left comments. We love the engagement from everybody. It is always fun. And if you are looking to watch us, you can catch us live on YouTube. You can catch us on LinkedIn and Facebook. You can also catch us on the website at broadstreetsouth.com, where you can catch us live here at Talking Hoops. And you can also download the app where you can watch us from the palm of your hand. There's so many options where you can never get enough of this amazing crew that we have. And want to take the time to thank Angel Martinez, our producer behind the glass, for hosting yet again another great show. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will be back next Wednesday.
Bye,
We see
y'all.
you later.